next distinguished guest, I request Shri Vijay Kumar Reddy Garu, Press Club of Hyderabad President, Shri Ramesh Varikupula Garu, General Secretary, and Vice President Aruna Attaluri to felicitate our beloved chief guest. Request you to sit down, sir. I now introduce our next distinguished guest. He represents an institution at the heart of strengthening journalism in Telangana, Shri K. Srinivas Reddy Garu, Chairman, Telangana Media Academy. Request you to please come onto the stage. I request Hariprasad Chilukuri Garu and Rachana Mudumbi to please come forward to felicitate our guest. Welcome, sir. It's now my privilege to introduce one of the most respected names in Indian journalism, Shri N. Ram Garu, Andarki Suparchitulu, Hindu Group Publishing Private Limited, Hindu Group Director Ga, Patrikeya Diggajanga Manandarki Suparchitulaina, N. Ram Gariki Sadara Swagatam Paluktunam. A towering presence in Indian journalism, Mr. Ram has represented the highest traditions of editorial independence, public interest journalism, and institutional credibility. It's an honor to welcome you, sir. I'd like to invite Rajesh Garu and Amit Bhattu Garu to please come and felicitate our guest. I now invite Sangeeta Barwaji, President of Press Club, New Delhi, a powerful woman in the Indian media, to please come onto the stage. May I invite Rama Devi Garu and Nagaraj to please come onto the stage to felicitate our guests. Rama Devi and Nagaraj, please come on to the dais. Our next distinguished guest is a journalist known for his sharp editorial voice and commitment to public interest journalism, Mr. Anant Nath, editor of the Caravan and former president of the Editors Guild of India. Request you to please come onto the stage, sir. వారికి సత్కారం అందించడానికి బాబురావు గారిని అలాగే శంకర్ గారిని హైదరాబాద్ ప్రెస్ క్లబ్ తరఫున వేదికపైకి ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాం. I'd like to invite Shri Gautam Lahiri ji, President of the Federation of Press Clubs, to please come onto the stage. Srinivas Reddy Garni, Satibabu Garni, Vedikpaiకి ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాం. Request Srinivas Reddy and Satibabu to please come onto the stage to felicitate our guest. Dhanyavadalandi, thank you very much. I now invite the force behind this event, Mr. Vijay Kumar Reddy, President of the Press Club of Hyderabad, to please come onto the stage. And I think our applause is the felicitation we are giving him this morning. Welcome, Vijay Kumar Garu. May I now request all of us to stand for the national song, followed by the Telangana state song. Request you all to please stand up. State song, please.
जय हे तेलंगाना जननी जय केतనం ముక్కోటి గొంతుకలు ఒక్కటైన చేతనం తరతరాల చరిత గల తల్లి నీరాజనం పద పదాన నీ పిల్లలు ప్రణమిల్లిన శుభతరుణం జయ తెలంగాణ జయ జయ తెలంగాణ జయ తెలంగాణ జయ జయ తెలంగాణ జీవన చావళీలు చాలువార కవి గాయక వైతాళిక కళల మంజీరాలు జాతిని జాగృత పరచే గీతాల జనజాతర అనునిత్యము నీ గానం అమ్మ నీవే మా ప్రాణం జయ తెలంగాణ జయ జయ తెలంగాణ జయ తెలంగాణ జయ జయ తెలంగాణ
We'll now have the lighting of the lamp ceremony to mark an auspicious beginning to this grand launch of the Federation of Press Clubs. జ్యోతి ప్రజ్వలన కార్యక్రమం నిమిత్తం మనం ఇవాళ విచ్చేసిన ముఖ్య అతిథి డిప్యూటీ చీఫ్ మినిస్టర్ వర్యులు శ్రీ మల్లు భట్టి విక్రమార్క గారిని విశిష్ట అతిథుల్ని కార్యక్రమంలో పాల్గొనవలసిందిగా కోరుతున్నాం. We request all our esteemed guests to step forward for the lighting of the lamp ceremony. Thank you very much, dear distinguished guests. Once again, we welcome you all. I request all the media covering the event to please settle down so that we can make way for the proceedings. దయచేసి మీడియా మిత్రులందరూ ఫోటోగ్రాఫర్లు కూడా కొంచెం పక్కకి తప్పుకోవాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాం. Today we are not merely inaugurating an organization, we are witnessing the coming together of one voice, one conscience and the collective strength of the Indian media. A free press needs freedom, as we all know. A strong press needs solidarity, and a democracy needs both. And it is in this spirit that we gather today for the grand launch of the Federation of Press Clubs. This is happening for the first time, and Hyderabad Press Club is honored, privileged, and proud to be hosting this inaugural event. A national platform envisioned to bring press clubs together, strengthen the fraternity of journalists, and create a collective space for dialogue, dignity, and professional solidarity. A new chapter is just about to begin here today in Hyderabad. Patrika Ranganlo jarugutuna aneka మార్పులకు అనుగుణంగా ఏ విధంగా ముందుకు సాగాలనే అంశంపై రాబోయే 1-2 రోజుల్లో మనం చర్చించబోతున్నాం. పాత్రికేయ దిగ్గజాలందరూ దేశవ్యాప్తంగా ఉన్న ప్రెస్ క్లబ్స్ నుంచి విచ్చేయడం చాలా హర్షణీయం. I would now like to hand over the dais to Mr. Vijay Kumar Reddy, President of Press Club of Hyderabad, to give our welcome speech. Sir.
అందరికీ గుడ్ మార్నింగ్. ఈరోజు భారతదేశ చరిత్రలో ఒక చారిత్రక ఘట్టానికి తెరలేస్తున్న సందర్భంగా ముఖ్య అతిథిగా విచ్చేసిన గౌరవనీయులు రాష్ట్ర ఉప ముఖ్యమంత్రి గారు భట్టి విక్రమార్క గారు, వేదిక మీద ఆసీనులైన మీడియా అకాడమీ చైర్మన్ శ్రీ శ్రీనివాసరెడ్డి గారు, దేశం గర్వించే జర్నలిస్టులో ఒకరైన ఎన్ రామ్ గారు, అదేవిధంగా ఫెడరేషన్ ఆఫ్ ప్రెస్ క్లబ్స్ దానికి బీజం వేసిన ఫెడరేషన్ ఆఫ్ ప్రెస్ క్లబ్ అధ్యక్షులు, ఢిల్లీ ప్రెస్ క్లబ్కు అనేకసార్లు ప్రాతినిధ్యం వహించిన గౌతమ్ లహరి గారు, ఎడిటర్స్ గిల్డ్ నుంచి ప్రాతినిధ్యం వహించి కారవాన్ పత్రిక ఎడిటర్గా పనిచేస్తున్న అనంతనాథ్ గారు, అదేవిధంగా దేశ చరిత్రలో ఢిల్లీ ప్రెస్ క్లబ్కు తొలిసారిగా ప్రెసిడెంట్గా ఎన్నికైన సంగీత గారు, హైదరాబాద్ ప్రెస్ క్లబ్ ప్రధాన కార్యదర్శి రమేష్ వరికుప్పల గారు, ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి హాజరైన ఢిల్లీ, ముంబై, కోల్కతా, చండీగఢ్, అగర్తల, గౌహతి అండ్ ఇండోర్, స్టేట్ ఇండోర్, ప్రవీణ్ వెరీ యాక్టివ్ ప్రెసిడెంట్, ఇండోర్ ప్రెస్ క్లబ్ అధ్యక్షులకు, కార్యదర్శులకు స్వాగతం పలుకుతా ఉన్నాను. ఈ వేదికగా 2 రోజుల పాటు యూనిటీ ఇన్ మీడియా, డెమోక్రసీ అండ్ ప్రజల స్వేచ్ఛ, మీడియా స్వేచ్ఛ మీద కూలంకషంగా చర్చలు జరగబోతున్నాయి. అనంతరం హైదరాబాద్ డిక్లరేషన్ పేరుతో ఒక గొప్ప డిక్లరేషన్ రాబోతూ ఉంది రేపు సాయంత్రానికి. ఈ చారిత్రక ఘట్టానికి హైదరాబాద్ వేదిక కావడం, ఈరోజు ఇంత అధిరత మహారాజులు అందరూ కూడా హైదరాబాద్ రావడం సంతోషకర పరిణామం. ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో పాలుపంచుకున్న హైదరాబాద్ ప్రెస్ క్లబ్ మాజీ అధ్యక్ష కార్యదర్శులు, అదేవిధంగా హైదరాబాద్ కేంద్రంగా పనిచేస్తున్న ఎడిటర్స్ అందరికీ కూడా స్వాగతం పలుకుతూ ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని కొనసాగించవలసిందిగా నేను కోరుతా ఉన్నాను. స్వప్న గారు.
Thank you very much, Vijay Kumar ji. I now invite Gautam Lahiri ji, President of the Federation of Press Clubs of India, to please come forward to give an introductory address explaining the purpose of this conclave.
Good morning to all of you. Shubh Prabham. At the outset, I must congratulate Hyderabad Press Club for organizing the grand launch of Federation of Press Clubs. It is the first time an institution has been built, and it will be in the media history. The name of Hyderabad Press Club will be written in golden letters that they have actually hosted this forming of an institution. Let me start briefly welcoming the Honorable Deputy CM of Telangana State. We are grateful that he has come on this auspicious occasion. There are many galaxy of leaders here, like Mr. N. Ram, who itself is an institution, no need of any introduction. Then Anant Nath, former President of Editors Guild of India, who are always supportive to the journey of Press Club of India in the quest for media freedom. And also, I would like to say the chairman of Media Academy of Telangana State, Mr. Srinivas Ji, and he always was supportive of Press Club of India's initiative. No need to say anything about the present incumbent president of Press Club of India. It's the first time that women has been a president, has been elected in the Press Club of India's journey. The journey started in 1958 with the blessings of first Prime Minister of the country, Jawaharlal Nehru ji. And I must acknowledge to Vijay ji. I have no word to say. Well, cannot make it small by thanking him for organizing this. Also the secretary of the Press Club and his team, he has given us wonderful support. And all of the colleagues who have come all over India here, so all credit goes to him, definitely, I must acknowledge. The journey of this Federation of Press Club actually started, the idea was born in 2016. So it became a decades, now it has become an institution. The idea floated by my predecessor, former Secretary General of the Press Club of India, Mr. Nadim Kazmi, and one of the veteran journalists, Mr. Rajdeep Sardesai. He would be very happy because he could not come. We have invited him, and Nadim has come all the way from Bihar. And so after this, we started this when in my last term of the presidency of the Press Club of India, that we decided to make it a serious move to make a kind of an unite all the clubs of the country who are democratically elected and who believes in the Article 19(1)(a) of the Indian Constitution. That's our ideology. We don't have any other ideology, only the freedom of expression as inside is a constitution is our ideology. So in that journey, first we have requested 7 other clubs other than Press Club of India. Before that, Press Club of India Managing Committee has taken a resolution that yes, Press Club of India will take an initiative to form a federation of the press clubs, uniting all the press clubs of the country. And I am thankful to my incumbent next successor, Sangeeta Baruaji and her team. They endorsed this move so that we can form, we are here today for in the grand launch of the Federation of Press Clubs. So credit goes to the present managing committee of the Press Club of India too. And also this, then we invited, because we found, we are talking to some legal experts and other people, how to form this body and make it an institution. So minimum requirement was for 8 press clubs should come together. So that's why initially we started with the 8 press clubs. All of you now know that Press Club of India and Calcutta Press Club, Mumbai Press Club, Chandigarh Press Club, Agartala Press Club, Guwahati Press Club, they have decided and come together and they decided, yes, we will go forward, go with the formation of the federation. That meeting was held in the month of November last year. After that, there was this, almost took 3 to 4 months to formalize it, but get the real permission from the Society of Registration Act. After that, we had our meeting in the Press Club of India premises, where all these press club representative presidents, as their managing committee recommends their representative. So they came together and we decided we have invited all our predecessors, those who were in the former president, former secretary general of the press club. So we had a great meeting, grand meeting there. There we decided to announce the formation of the press club. But in that meeting, all the 6 clubs were physically, 7 clubs physically present. Only the Mumbai Press Club joined online. There's on video. He came on video, the then president of Mumbai Press Club. So then Vijayji, the Hyderabad Press Club, he said, you should give us a chance to grand launch of this federation to the people of this country can know that yes, there is a new organization has been formed for uniting the journalists of the country. That's why Vijayji gave us the proposal. We unanimously decided And we also prepared a memorandum of understanding, memorandum of associations under which the federation will work. They have a constitution, you can call it a constitution. And I must recognize here, we have appointed a full-time chief executive officer. He's a press club member, Vivek Mukherjee. I think whatever he has done cannot be done by, I didn't find anyone in our club who can take the trouble for creating all these kind of, all this work, legal work, and the paperwork. It's a voluminous work, if you one can see that what kind of job he has done. Still today he is doing this. We are great that he is here also. And I am grateful to all the press clubs, like Mumbai press clubs. Now the newly elected body secretary, Mr. Anil Singh, is here. And Calcutta press club, Snehashi Sood, he is also here. Agartala Press Club President Pranab Sarkar, Chandigarh Press Club President Mr. Saurabh Duggal, who happens to be the Secretary General of the Federation. We have decided unanimously in that meeting that Press Club of India will nominate the President and the Treasurer. And also an Assistant Secretary post, who is Sangeeta Bodua. She is the Assistant Secretary of the Federation. Secretary General would be from Chandigarh, and all other clubs will have the Vice Presidents. So after today, we will have our meeting and we will enlarge and appeal to other democratically elected press clubs to come and join with us. So I am told that Chennai Press Club has come after 24 years. They have an election. We congratulate them for holding a free and fair election. And so I will be glad that if they join today itself in our Federation Governing Council meeting, it will be a second meeting in Press Club Hyderabad. So there we can announce that. Also other clubs are interested for joining. I am told that Northeastern clubs and the Thiruvananthapuram Press Club, then Bangalore Press Club, they have in principle, they have agreed to join. So later on we will have a time when we will decide and expand this body. Just as shortly, I would say that not actually we have planning to what our motto, what we will do. Basically, the first thing and first objective is to unite the media fraternity. There is we acknowledge there is no unification of media fraternity in this country. So that's a need of the hour. And we are thankful that Mr. Ram is helping us for guiding us to achieve our objective. Also, we will do how the media freedom should be in the country, how it should be practiced. So I am not going into details because we will have a discussion among ourselves, then we will declare our policy that's called a Hyderabad Declaration, where the protection of journalists, how the journalists will be protected, and when the journalists are being attacked, how the Federation can take up the issues with all sorts of help, like legal help and other help also. So that's our idea, and we will create a kind of an institution so that we can build up the new generation of media fraternity, those who will be enlightened with the idea of the Federation of India and for all the media freedom itself. So which is definitely nobody can deny that it is under threat now. So that's our motto. I will not take much time, rather you will all are waiting to hear other luminaries. So thank you very much for giving us the opportunity. Once again, I must congratulate Hyderabad Press Club for hosting us and giving us a beautiful stay in the beautiful city of Pearls, where gem of journalists are uniting together. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Gautamji, khoob bhalo, thank you very much. While we have a lot of gems on stage, we also acknowledge the gems sitting in the audience. We have senior media fraternity, Bandar Srinivas Rao Garu, Srinivas Reddy Garu, Amar Devulpalli Garu, and we also have Mohan Guruswamy Garu, I. Venkat Garu, Tarun Garu. Request you all to please come forward and occupy the seats in front, sir. Dayachesi camera mitrulandaru, I request you all to make space for our senior media fraternity to come forward and sit. Lakshmi Garu kuda unnaru akkada venakala. So before we proceed to listen to our distinguished guests, we will now have the unveiling of the Federation logo by the Honorable Deputy CM. We also would like the distinguished guests N. Ram Garu, Anantnath Garu, and the other governing council members of the Federation of Press Club to join in this unveiling of this Federation logo. దయచేసి అందరూ కలిసి లోగో ఆవిష్కరణకి సిద్ధం అవ్వాలని కోరుతున్నాం. అనంతరం విశిష్ట అతిథుల మాటలు వినబోతున్నాం మనం. అలాగే ముఖ్య అతిథి గారి సందేశం కూడా వినడానికి అందరూ ఆతృతగా ఎదురు చూస్తున్నారు. రిక్వెస్ట్ యు ఆల్ టు ప్లీజ్ స్టెప్ ఫార్వర్డ్. కెన్ వి మేక్ స్పేస్ ప్లీజ్? Request the entire Press Club of Hyderabad Federation. Request the Federation governing members to come forward, please. Anantaram audio visual presentation undabotondi. Dayachesi request you all to sit back. We will have an audio visual presentation after the unveiling of the logo.
Chandigarh Press Club, Mumbai Press Club, Agartala, Indore, and Delhi Press Club. We are requesting to attend, come on to the dais. Other press clubs also. Mr. Sneha Susur, Kolkata Press Club, Chennai Press Club, Nielsen.
ఫెడరేషన్ గవర్నింగ్ బాడీ సభ్యులు మాత్రమే వేదికపైకి రావాలని కోరుతున్నాం. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to unveil the logo of the Federation of Press Clubs of India. For the first time, such a federation has been formed, and this is an inaugural event. We are all witnessing a historic moment for all journalists and media fraternity. A bigger round of applause, please. ఏవీ టీం దయచేసి కొంచెం మంగళకరమైన ధ్వని ఉన్న పాట వేయండి. Thank you very much. Respected guests, request you all to please be seated. Can we have the team move the logo, please, so that we may watch the audio visual. Audio visual కోసం సిద్ధం అవ్వాలండి. దయచేసి ఆడియో విజువల్ని ట్యూన్ చేసి పెట్టుకోండి డైరెక్ట్గా. I request our distinguished guests to please turn towards the screen on stage so that we may all watch the unveiling of the audio visual now.
Fact of the matter that the press clubs are the most visible and vibrant organizations of the media persons in various parts of the country.
And finally it's happening. अभी शुरुआत में 8 प्रेस क्लब को मिला के फेडरेशन ऑफ प्रेस क्लब्स ऑफ इंडिया बनाया गया. जर्नलिस्ट के साथ जिस तरह की घटनाएं देश भर में होती हैं उसके खिलाफ भी आवाज उठाएं. और इसका मकसद यही है कि सारे जर्नलिस्ट मिलकर एक साथ अपनी फर्टिलिटी के लिए काम करें और देश की मजबूती के लिए, लोकतंत्र के लिए काम करें.
प्रांतिक राज्ये এই প্রেস ক্লাব ফেডারেশন অত্যন্ত গুরুত্বপূর্ণ এই কারণে যে দেখা গেছে বিভিন্ন সময় সাংবাদিকদের অনেক সমস্যার মধ্যে পড়তে হয়.
लेकिन वही पत्थर यदि हम संगठित मधुमक्खियों के छत्ते पर फेंकेंगे तो हमारी हालत बुरी हो जाएगी. मैं समझता हूँ भारत में जितने सक्रिय प्रेस क्लब हैं उनका जो एक महासंघ बना है, एक बड़ा परिवार बना है, फेडरेशन ऑफ प्रेस क्लब के महासंघ के गठन पर सभी साथियों को बहुत बहुत बधाई.
ప్రెస్ క్లబ్ హైదరాబాద్ ఆధ్వర్యంలో ఈ నెల 22-23 తేదీలలో ఫెడరేషన్ ఆఫ్ ప్రెస్ క్లబ్ ఆధ్వర్యంలో మీడియా కాన్క్లేవ్ నిర్వహించబోతున్నాం. దానికి దేశవ్యాప్తంగా ఉన్న అనేక ప్రెస్ క్లబ్లు హైదరాబాద్ ఇప్పటికీ వచ్చేశాయి. ప్రెస్ క్లబ్ ఫెడరేషన్ ఆధ్వర్యంలో మీడియా విశ్వసనీయత, జర్నలిస్ట్ రక్షణ మీద మన అనేక సింపోజియం నిర్వహించబోతున్నాం.
In the current scenario, where there have been a continuous attempts to suppress the free speech and to control media, the role of the press clubs become even more important. Federation of the press clubs have been formed, and I am very much confident that Federation is going to play a role in safeguarding the free speech. I also congratulate Hyderabad Press Club for organizing the launch event of the Federation of Press Club, Free Speech, Free Press.
The Federation of Press Clubs, to my mind, is the need of the hour, considering the continuous damage that we are seeing being done to the institution of journalism in India, the world's largest democracy, that the elected press clubs of this country unite as a cohort to not just to protect the country and its democracy, but also the institution of journalism.
Of the matter.
It's truly an inspiring moment. I request our distinguished guests to please be seated. I now invite Sangeeta Barua Pisharti to address the audience, President of the Press Club of India, to please come forward and say a few words.
To all dignitaries on the stage, fellow journalists, my seniors in the profession present here, namaskar, good morning, and greetings from the Press Club of India, New Delhi. Today indeed is an important day for the elected press clubs of the country. Finally, we have a federation which would provide the journalist clubs a much needed platform to work like a cohort, as I said a little earlier. So congratulations to all of us. The Federation, as Gautam Das said, is truly the need of the hour. It is born at a time when random arrest of journalists have become the norm. Slapping of flimsy cases against reporters and independent media houses have become common. We all know why it's done. It's done only to ensure that the process is the punishment. Tools like RTI, which are used by journalists like me to procure official information from the government to do public interest journalism, have been diluted in the name of protecting privacy. A huge brigade of laptop media, unfortunately, has been carefully crafted just to serve the government of the day and their corporate masters, of course. So which is a mockery in a democracy where every institution, including that of journalism, is designed to serve the citizens first. On any given day, this brigade, to my mind, works somewhat like internet bots on social media platforms that we see, copying the same narrative handed down to them by their handlers, as if they have mortgaged their brains just to earn high salaries. That's all. The Federation has come at a time when truth in this country is a casualty. People respected journalism, read newspapers, listened to the radio, watched television news just to get to the truth, isn't it? So we journalists were actually the bearers of the truth to the society. To my mind, it was the sole reason the profession of journalism was considered a noble one. However, in the last few years, the very purpose of supporting journalism and journalists by common citizens has received a severe dent. Recently, we saw during the students' protest at Jantar Mantar in New Delhi, several media persons being heckled, not allowed to work by young protesters. They accused them of representing the lapdog media of the government of the day, not pursuing public interest journalism. I don't support violence against anyone personally. Press Club of India as an institution has condemned such actions. We had issued a press release condemning it. But that action from the citizenry actually held up the huge trust deficit of media among common people in the country. So going forward, the Federation as the representative force of India's elected press clubs will have to delve into these fundamental questions, staring at the institution of journalism in India today, including questions like why in the world's largest democracy we have accepted facts like the Prime Minister of the country, who is elected by the people, have failed to even address a press conference of unscripted questions. It may sound unimportant to me, to all of you, to any of us, but therein also lies the hidden fact that addressing a press conference and readiness of an elected leader to take up questions from journalists also means he thinks he is accountable to the people of this country, not a god. After all, journalist's job is to ask questions to the government of the day on behalf of the people. In a democracy, we, including those in power, are all supposed to work for the people. We journalists are supposed to work for the people. I also would like to take this opportunity to highlight that we should address the need for a proper media policy in this country, which would ensure that the fourth pillar of democracy remains in good health. I hope the Federation would give the necessary push, Dada, to the media bill, which has already been put together by a set of competent senior journalists at the behest of the Press Club of India, when the current Federation President, Gautam Lahiri, was the Press Club of India President. A lot of research has got into that work to include all the best examples of good practices from across the globe. Through the Federation, we should try and generate a countrywide demand from all stakeholders, journalists and common citizens alike, to bring such a bill whereby journalism can function without the fear of powers be. If we have to protect journalism, there is no doubt in my mind that we would need to address the issue of cross ownership and multi-channel control models, which has become a plague in this country. Before I end, I would like to express my deepest thanks to the Hyderabad Press Club for organizing the inaugural event of the Federation of Press Clubs. I think Vijay and the entire managing committee members, this is truly impressive and a great start. Thank you. Sorry, I think I've taken yours.
Thank you very much, Sangeeta ji, and hats off to you for bringing up some really practical, real-time issues instead of just speaking about idealistic values. I think what Sangeeta ji mentioned is definitely the need of the hour. I now invite Mr. Anantnath ji to address the audience. Anantnath ji needs no introduction. He's a former president of the Editors Guild, and he's the editor of Carvan magazine. Welcome, sir.
Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, dignitaries on the stage, Ram sir, Srinivas sir, Vijay ji, Sangeeta, Gautam da, Ramesh ji. Again, I can't underscore the momentousness of this occasion. Coming together of 8 press clubs, Gautam da said that this was an idea that was floated in 2016. I'm just referring to the old adage, nobody can stop an idea whose time has come. I wish that the idea had come about 12 years ago, and we wish that this idea had fructified soon enough, given the overall environment we are operating within. In fact, one could say that there has always been a need. We should not be confined to what is happening in last 10 years. Media has been under attack, Media has always had a need to defend itself for long term, for decades, but more so in the last decade or so, and especially so in the post-COVID era, where the environment, the legal environment, the government's own attitude towards press freedom has taken a far greater and far more sinister dip, and therefore it is all the more important, and a great congratulations to everybody involved for coming together to form this federation. Sangeeta talked about the overall environment we are operating in. I'm just going to add a few more facets to it. The whole legal system, the way it is shaped up in post-COVID era, starting from the IT rules that were floated, which have allowed government unilateral powers to take down content. They've put together a three-tiered structure, so-called regulatory structure, which has 2 layers of self-regulation, but the final third layer being government-mandated, government-compromised ministerial group, which has the sole authority to decide what is problematic. Followed by the sinister fact-checking unit, where the government tried to give itself the sole authority to determine what is fake, false, misleading about its own affairs. So you're the victim and the judge in your own affairs. Fortunately, that was put aside by the Bombay High Court. The Privacy Act, which is in the garb of a noble cause of protecting private citizens' privacy, has now been used to dilute RTI, because most government officers, most government functions have been kept out of the purview of RTI. And at the same time, there is no journalistic exemption, which was there in the previous bills that were floated, but the final act had no clause of journalistic exemption, leaving a big gray area that is journalistic work, which invariably deals with private information of public officials. Whether you're in politics, you're in corporate affairs, you're in sports, as a journalist, we are meant to deal with your private information as well, from a point of view of public inquiry. There's a gray area whether journalists will come under Privacy Act and Privacy Board and accountable to whatever rules that the Privacy Act has sort of put in together. There was a broadcast bill that has fortunately been put away. There's the new Sahyog portal that's been put together, which is probably one of the most ingenious and sinister frameworks that has been put together by this government in the last 1 year, where powers to take down content has been decentralized across states and given to senior police officers to determine what problematic and order takedown. And that window of takedown was from 2 or 3 days, has now been brought to within 3 hours. So something which is held as natural justice, where somebody's content that has been taken down has to be first given a notice and an opportunity to be heard, has been taken away. Your content is first taken down, and then you approach the courts or whichever forum it is, and we all know how long it takes. One of Caravan articles was taken out 2 years ago. It's been 2 years. There's not been even substantive arguments yet, and the government has been able to sort of get away, and Caravan is one of them. Many other instances are there where articles, and not just articles, tweets, Facebook posts have been taken down. The criminal laws, the new criminal laws that were put together, ostensibly to replace the colonial laws. The wording of these new criminal laws, uplift the powers that were given by the so-called colonial laws. They were far more respectful when we look at the BNS, how sedition, which was set in abeyance by the Supreme Court, has been reintroduced as treason. The wording of what is treasonous has been expanded, made more vague. False information and misleading information has been criminalized. Now, what is false information? What is misleading information? Who will determine? Obviously, a police officer will determine. Obviously, an SOCHO will determine. You can file a complaint, a government act, state agent can sort of find a non-state agent to file a complaint, and suddenly that complaint gets into an FIR under what is called false information, and then the process starts. As again Sangeeta said, process becomes a punishment, which is far more difficult for smaller journalists, which is far more difficult for independent media organizations, and equally for large organizations. Once the process is started, you become prisoner to that. So all these things, the IPC provisions which have been expanded into BNS, the regulatory environment itself has become very intrusive. not to mention the way investigative agencies, IT, ED, CBI are used. When a simple act of reporting on a rape case is turned into an unlawful and a terrorist activity. And that's the Siddiq Kapan is one case, but there are multiple such cases in smaller towns. I was just looking at the list. Journalists like Sujit Sarkar in Assam, who's beaten up by 20 people by MLA goons. Journalist Vijay Pradhan in Odisha was tied up and dragged through street for 2 hours because he exposed the work of NHR, public work. Sneha Barve from Maharashtra was beaten up because he was reporting on how riverbed construction was been illegally done. These and so many cases which happening at local level and national media often doesn't even get to know about it. According to CPJ and JIJN, about 27 journalists have been killed in India since 1992. These are not isolated incidents. When one such journalist is beaten up, murdered, or roughed, or put in jail, it's an attack against entire press. And therefore a body like Federation, where not just 8, but I'm sure dozens of press clubs will eventually come together, become eye and ear for the fraternity at large. That even the smallest attack on any journalist, on an independent media organization gets a national level amplification. So that the entire fraternity comes together to resist that, to ensure that the system doesn't become accustomed to misusing the powers which has been so liberally given. Gautam Da talked about 19(1)A is our focus. And the focus should also be how to blunt 19(1)B. The restrictions that have been placed in freedom of speech and which are the genesis, all those vague restrictions which have found space in all the laws. How do we blunt the use of those restrictions and at least the liberal and the almost indiscriminate use of those restrictions are being allowed in all these laws. That has to be checked. It's a constitutional provision. It's not easy, but we have to come together to ensure that all those restrictions which have found place in IT laws, civil laws, criminal laws need to be checked. And I know the Federation has put together a big memorandum for itself. I thought I'll just give a few areas where the Federation needs to sort of, beyond the obvious one of making sure that local becomes national. Any local attack gets national significance. But the Federation should come together, I'm sure it will come together, to work on 3 or 4 issues which are very important to sort of blunt the attack of the current establishment at least, and also non-government establishments as and when the local power centers attack any entity of press. Often is said about statements, that what do statements do? Statements is a very important message of solidarity, that the person under attack is being looked after. And if all press clubs come together and issue statement, it creates an amplification mechanism. Those statements find space in larger media, and all of you will be members of your local organizations. The impact of that amplification cannot be underscored. Representations to governments, we've had some success. In the case of broadcast bill, in fact, Press Club organized a press conference. I was part of that. Digipub was part of that. Ravish Kumar was the speaker. And various organizations, Guild, Press Club, multiple other organizations made representations. Thankfully, the broadcast bill was taken back. One success at least where we achieved some, we were able to sort of push back on the government. Even the Privacy Act, thanks to multiple representations made by Press Club and various other press bodies, at least the MeitY Secretary called for a meeting. And at least he gave us verbal assurances that journalists will not be under the purview of Privacy Act. We wanted more, but at least we got that much. Let's not undermine what we got. Let's not undermine the fact that the MeitY Secretary had to force because multiple press bodies came together. Judicial action. Once the law is passed, up until the law is being contemplated, we have representations, but once the law is passed, we have no other option but to go to the court. The more petitions are filed, the more importance the court will give, because then it doesn't become, it gets elevated from a single entity's interest to an industry-wise interest. The fact-checking unit is a case where multiple organizations, Guild, I think it was Magazine Association and various other organizations put together a petition, and finally the Bombay High Court held it unconstitutional. There's an appeal been filed against in the Supreme Court. We have to challenge that. Sedition was put under abeyance. Again, multiple organizations had filed petitions. Unfortunately, sedition has found a place against under treason. The Sahyog portal is one such example, and the Privacy Act is another example where I hope the press clubs and the federation takes a lead in challenging it judicially. Yesterday, Ram sir and all of us were talking about lawyers and the need for making a network of lawyers who are willing to work with journalists. I think the number of lawyers who are out there who feel for the cause is a lot, from senior to younger lawyers. At the Guild, we've had great help from lawyers like Shri Kapil Sibal, Sham Diwan, multiple other lawyers who have fought cases for us pro bono. And similar lawyers are there in every high court, in every major court of the country. What is required with the federation, if multiple press clubs are a member of this network, to create a list of such lawyers which can be roped in, who will work for us, who will not sometimes work for institutional issues, but also if an independent journalist needs help, who doesn't have the resources to hire a lawyer, if the press clubs, if the federation can put them in touch with well-meaning lawyers, that will be a great help, because who will otherwise help them? So this is an important, need gap, so to say, that is existing, and I'm sure they will fill it up. And finally, I would say, while we can look at the world at large, and Sangeeta did talk about that, the trust deficit, we have to look within. Why is it that there is such great deficit of trust within media or with media? I think if we want others to be accountable, we also need to be accountable to something. Of course, we don't want to be accountable to any government-mandated body. And that's why the urgent need for creating a robust self-regulation mechanism. The government, after they lost the fact-checking unit, they put the Parliamentary Committee of IT and Communications put together a special session calling certain sections of media on mechanisms to govern fake news. Now, this fake news is a real menace. We can't disregard that. There is fake news out there. And the government is very cleverly using fake news as an excuse to put together all those Sahyog portal, fact-checking unit, and multiple other ways to bring down content, allow them to bring down content, but eventually they will bring down content that is not palatable to them. So we need to come up with an answer that we will be accountable. We need to create a self-regulatory framework, and there also, my personal view is not one large self-regulatory body, because if there is one large self-regulatory body, it will become a power unto itself. It can be captured. Instead of that, create a mechanism, create a dialogue that we put in a framework where self-regulatory bodies should be organized under certain principles, certain frameworks, and then create multiple self-regulatory bodies across the country, across states, across medium, so that it is accessible also. If one body is there, thousands of media organizations, YouTube channels, and bring them also into the force, at least the ones who are willing to be, willing to adhere to that code. So tens of thousands of such organizations to be under one body will be just logistically not possible. So create a mechanism, create a dialogue where every press club, regional press club, can sort of maybe become an anchor for a local, regional regulatory body, each of which is following the same common guidelines and frameworks, including obviously powers to reprimand. But the constitution of those regulatory bodies should obviously be outside of the realm of government. And I'm sort of taking some words from Ram sir's, he'll elaborate on that, on how to make it even more self-regulatory by not having any conflict of interest. And we were talking about it, and when he had, he has some ideas from the Levison report, which I'll let him sort of, talk about. But self-regulation, if that can be one of the cornerstones of this federation, I think it will do a great justice. It will be an answer to the government that don't regulate us. It will be an answer to the government that don't create laws. We will create our own mechanisms to govern us, and we will be accountable to people. Because at the end of the day, people are not trusting us, because journalists and media organizations and more larger media organizations are getting away by abusing the power that they have been given to. So I hope the federation sort of starts, fills in this gap, and I'm pretty sure it will. And all the best to everybody involved, and good luck, and hope this federation of 8 members becomes a federation of a few dozen members across the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Anantnath ji, for bringing up some really relevant points. Back in those days and since then, if we had to confirm whether something was right or not, I remember my elders telling me, look up what has been published in the Hindu. And the Hindu publication stands as a hallmark of credibility and dignity. I now invite N. Ramji to please give his address, Director of the Hindu Publishing Group.
Honorable Chief Guest, Deputy Chief Minister, Sri Mallu Bhatti Vikramarka, my respected colleagues, K. Srinivasa Reddy, S. Vijay Kumar Reddy, Anantnath, he made some very interesting points. He's not quite of Gen Z, but compared with me, he's pretty close to it. Sangeeta Barua Pisharoti, President of the Press Club of India, leaders and members of well-functioning press clubs. 8 have come here, and I'd like to include others as well, including the Chennai Press Club. A representative is here. I'll tell you a little bit about that a little later, either today or tomorrow. Media friends, it's a privilege and a pleasure to be here in Hyderabad for the launch of the Federation of Press Clubs. The formation of a national federation of press clubs comes at a significant moment for Indian journalism. But before I proceed further, I must, on behalf of all media journalists and media persons here, give thanks where they are due, namely to the Deputy Chief Minister and the government headed by Chief Minister Revanth Reddy and the whole team for one distinguishing feature. I heard rumors that in Telangana today, there have been no cases against journalists, criminal cases, no actions, no assaults. But we have a saying, trust but verify. And I verified with no less than the Deputy Chief Minister. And I'm happy to report, I think he'll speak about it. He said, no, Telangana is for freedom of expression. And this is in contrast, I'm sad to say, with several other states, including Tamil Nadu, where criminal actions have been launched, most recently against my friend Nakiran Gopal, but also in other states. We don't have time to go into the details here. They may be discussed later, perhaps. But this is something to be noted at the outset. And may this tribe increase. We face today, as earlier speakers have said, and as the media conclave will discuss, 2 interconnected crises that form the themes of the two-day event. The first has been well described, the crisis of credibility. A trust deficit between much of the news media. We must be careful in saying not all the news media, but much of the news media and substantial sections of the public. The second is a crisis of media freedom and independence. The growing vulnerability of journalists and news organizations to political, legal, administrative, economic, and other forms of coercion. I believe that press clubs have an important role to play in addressing both challenges. And if this new federation can bring press clubs across India together, across languages, across regions, across platforms, across generations, and across political differences, it can become an important institutional force for strengthening Indian journalism, restoring its vitality and influence and defending its democratic and progressive role. We must begin with an uncomfortable truth, which has been acknowledged already. A free press cannot survive on constitutional and legal protection alone. We do have that to a large extent, although not all of us are satisfied with the constitutional and legal provisions protecting freedom of speech and expression in Article 19(1)(a) and as qualified by Article 19(2). Crucially, we require public trust, and it does appear that trust in the media and journalism has weakened. I don't want to go into the details of it. We have to look at the evidence critically. There's not enough evidence on it, but it has been widely reported, and instinctively we feel that it is true. This trend deserves our serious attention. The reasons for this erosion of trust, reported erosion of trust, are many and complex. Some originate outside journalism. Political forces everywhere, and especially those on the far right, have discovered that discrediting independent journalism can be an effective political strategy. At the other end, large sections of the so-called mainstream media that are enthralled to the ruling party, the union government and the party there, have lost trust among those who expect the media to be independent and brave in their attitude to power. Social media have created enormous ecosystems of misinformation and disinformation, which I think will be discussed in the media conclave in some detail. It's now virtually axiomatic that algorithmically amplified propaganda travels faster than verified journalism. But we must also resist the temptation to attribute the entire trust deficit to forces outside ourselves. Some of it is self-inflicted. When journalism becomes indistinguishable from political propaganda, when television debates substitute noise for information, when sensationalism overwhelms verification, when bigoted opinion and communal hate masquerades as news, when allegations are reported without adequate checking, when corrections, when they are made, are at all are grudging or invisible, like insurance policies, and the exceptions carved out in very small type, when political and powerful corporate interests influence editorial decisions, when journalism appears closer to the powerful than to the ordinary citizen, the public notices and often acts. So obviously trust cannot be taken for granted, it can't be demanded. The press clubs can make a valuable contribution as institutions of media freedom and independence and professional ethics. But I think this has not been sufficiently recognized in India. A press club worth its name cannot, I think the president of the federation made that point right at the outset, if I remember right, that it can't be just a place where journalists meet socially in the evenings, he said, or something to that effect, or to entertain themselves. That is a legitimate function. I don't want to debunk it. It's a deliberate, legitimate function, but it has to be we have to set our sights higher than that. A press club as a professional institution must have a sound constitution, an MOA which you have, and bylaws and rules guaranteeing good and transparent governance. It must not be a closed shop. It must hold regular elections in which members elect their office bearers in a free and clean way. And at yesterday's dinner, I think I mentioned this about the Chennai Press Club. The Chennai Press Club, before 2024, held its last elections in 1999. But when after a great deal of effort and a guidance committee was set up, then intervened in the process, the elections were conducted by a respected retired High Court judge and a team of lawyers, with no member of the press club involved in the elections. The turnout, I think it's a world record for a press club, was 91.27% of 1,371 members. And there were 44 contestants, and Mr. V.N. Swamy, 95 years old, the oldest member of the Chennai Press Club, came all the way from Madurai to Chennai to cast his vote. I think one of our best representatives of the press club, Nelson, is here, and I think he can tell you more about it tomorrow. He has been invited by the President of the Federation. So I'm very happy to report this tremendous reform that has taken place, and that's an example. You have stories, there are stories of other press clubs which have been through times of troubles and emerged or not emerged out of the trouble. So these are, I think, very important. A press club, of course, and I think I want to pay tribute to the Press Club of Hyderabad, not just because I'm here, but it has been in the forefront of on the issues that press clubs should take up from the beginning. At least from the 1980s, I'm familiar personally with this. And Delhi also, but Hyderabad has been the Press Club of Hyderabad has been a very important player in what we are witnessing today, namely press clubs worth their name, well-run and well-governed press clubs forming a federation. I'll share more details a little later. Now, the second challenge, coercion by the authoritarian state. It will be unfair to believe or say that we have problems only with the union government, the BJP government, the Modi government. Many state governments belonging to different political parties, that's why I singled out Telangana this time, I think have also been intolerant, have also adopted coercive tactics, filed criminal cases with the police picking up journalists, trying to arrest them in this case. So we have to recognize this, and regardless of our political preferences, views, or ideological orientation, we have to come together on a principled basis whenever journalists are unjustly targeted in connection with their work. I'm not talking about personal quarrels and so on. We are talking about coercion used against journalists in connection with their work, assuming the journalist has not done something that deserves criminal action. And in 99% of the cases, you will find that it is unjust. That is our experience. The instruments available to the modern state are formidable. Criminal prosecution, police investigation, raids, seizure of electronic devices, surveillance, tax and financial investigations, restrictions on access, internet shutdowns, blocking orders, and the deployment of broadly worded laws against journalists and media organizations. This is why, I think the word is yours, collectivization is essential. An attack on one journalist must become the concern of journalists everywhere. Ravi Nair in Gujarat, and also somebody living in Hyderabad, but but the action was from a neighboring state, which I need not name here yet. He is also facing trouble. Hearteningly, this collectivization is beginning to happen, or has been happening over swathes of political India, thanks to active, well-governed and soundly functioning press clubs, thanks to the Editors Guild of India, its former president is here, thanks to organizations of working journalists, some of them have been weakened in recent years, and some foundations or groups committed to media freedom and independence and democratic rights. Let me remind you of what happened in 1988. Indian journalism has already demonstrated what collective action can achieve. And my mind goes back to the extraordinary struggle against the Defamation Bill of 1988. The Rajiv Gandhi government introduced the bill in the Lok Sabha on August 29, 1988, pushed it through the House with extraordinary speed, the way they do it now. This was the time our Bofors investigation was in full swing, and several media organizations were in pursuit of the story. The Defamation Bill 1988 contained provisions that journalists regarded as profoundly threatening. Among the other things, the bill sought to shift important burdens onto defendants in criminal defamation cases and to create procedures capable of having a chilling effect on investigative journalism. But what happened next was remarkable. The Indian press came together in a way not seen before. Journalist organizations, newspaper employees, press clubs, editors, publishers, and even proprietors, people who disagree vigorously on politics and on journalism, recognized that something fundamental was at stake. A coordination committee of the national press was created. Editors spoke with one voice. Journalists mobilized across the country, and again, the Press Club of Hyderabad was key in fighting back against this. The Editors Guild, under the stewardship of the late Sri Ramoji Rao, did a splendid job of mobilizing media opposition to the bill, and I recall working with him closely during those heady days. On September 5, 1988, journalists covering Parliament boycotted proceedings and joined the big protest march in Delhi. I still have a photograph of a section of the march in New Delhi in which Sri Ramnath Goenka walked along with much younger persons like Arun Shauri and me. Parliamentary records note this extraordinary event. The following day, there was a nationwide media strike. Journalists, editors, publishers, and newspaper employees stood together. Lawyers, intellectuals, trade unions, students, and citizens joined the protest. On September 22nd, Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, to his great credit, announced the unconditional withdrawal of the bill. I think there may be a few people here who can remember that or have participated in that experience. So this is something that inspired a lot of people. The other thing is we should not get too dejected about what's there. I think there is still a lot of space in India for press freedom, media freedom, for freedom of speech and expression. But very often we say it's gone. Or they say this is like an emergency. This is not an emergency. I know what an emergency was. It was total censorship. Fortunately, it didn't last long. There are vast spaces and there is also resistance. An independent and vigorous press in a country and a population as vast and diverse as ours is inherently pluralistic. This diversity and pluralism make it difficult, if not impossible, for the state to control the media unless it chooses to surrender its independence for whatever motive or reason. We see this now after the Cockroach Janata Party movement, the protest movements, the kind of free speech, sometimes even excesses unleashed on the social media, particularly Instagram or YouTube and so on, with the state, I'm talking about the union government, powerless to stop this enormous movement there. How long it will last, whether spontaneity alone can carry us forward is another matter. With apologies to the tribe of British journalists, several of whom are excellent professionals, I would like to quote these lines written in 1930 by the English poet and writer Humbert Woolf. You cannot hope to bribe or twist, thank God, the British journalist, but seeing what the man will do unbribed, there is no occasion to. So I think this brings us to the final point that the Federation of Press Clubs in India can become an important player. Imagine a national network capable of responding immediately when a journalist is threatened anywhere in India, in any state, the Federation can develop a quick-acting national journalist defense mechanism. It can document attacks on journalists the way Vivek Mukherjee has been doing, but I think it needs more support. Research needs funding, and more support is needed for independent research. So it can document attacks on journalists the way the New York-based Committee to Protect Journalists, I follow their work and data closely, has been documenting attacks on journalists from 1992. The Federation of Press Clubs can set up and activate rapid response teams to protect journalists when they are arrested, threatened, assaulted, or subjected to coercive legal action. It can issue meticulously verified public statements on what happened. It can work with the Editors Guild, journalists' unions, digital media organizations, publishers' bodies, civil liberties organizations, and lawyers to protect freedom of expression and the rights of journalists. It can draw from a panel of lawyers, it has already been mentioned by Anand, to provide urgent legal assistance to journalists in trouble in connection with their work. In this regard, let me report that my friend Karan Thapar and I have received a standing offer from one of India's brightest and best in the legal profession, Shri Kapil Sibal, senior advocate and former cabinet minister, that if a foundation is established for the legal protection of journalists, an independent foundation is established for the legal protection of journalists, he will offer his services pro bono, provide leadership, help bring lawyers together, and make personal financial contributions to this foundation. I want you to note this, and I think we need to follow it up. And when circumstances warrant it, the Federation can actively help to mobilize press clubs along with other public-spirited organizations and individuals around the country and organize coordinated democratic protests, peaceful democratic protests. The lesson of 1988 is that governments cannot ignore an entire profession standing together. We have much more to discuss in the media conclave, and I have already taken perhaps too much time. We are all eager to hear the Deputy Chief Minister of Telangana, who has already assured me, and I'm sure he'll elaborate on it, that Telangana, the government of Telangana, the Congress government of Telangana is unconditionally committed to freedom of speech and expression when it is properly defined. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Enram sir. That was almost like a reset button, realigning our purpose and a great sense of purpose for the Indian media. I'd like to quote Bhardiyar sir on this. Manadil urudi vendum. I'd like to quote Subramanya Bharati sir on this, sir. Manadil urudi vendum, vakinile inimai vendum, ninaivu nalladu vendum. Where there's determination and purpose in thought, I think everything is possible. Adakku ellathukum Press Club Federation vendum. Thank you, sir. I request Telangana Media Academy Chairman Shri Srinivas Reddy Garu, who's been a guiding light for all of us, to say a few words.
Thank you. Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Telangana, Sri Bhatti Vikramarka Garu, respected N. Ram, and also former Press Guild of India, President and Editor of Carbon, Mr. Nath, the Federation of Press Clubs of India, President Gautam Lahiri, Delhi Press Club of India President Sangeeta Barua, my friends Vijay, Ramesh, and distinguished friends, editors, and members of the press club. I can say today is a milestone for the working journalists in this country, because as Mr. Lahari said, in the objective of the Federation of Press Clubs is to defend Article 19(1)(a), which derived freedom of the press from this article. This is the only thing everybody expecting and the society also expecting from the media. As Mr. Ram rightly said, trust deficit is everywhere. And particularly people expect from the media. The organs of the state also, one is judiciary, that is also losing. But more so the freedom of the press now is in, I can say, Mr. Ram said, it is not in danger, freedom of expression is not in danger, but signals are coming everywhere. The two things are involved in it. One is expression that controls authorities, governments. Expression of working journalists that controls media houses. Equally, apart from authorities, now the biggest danger for the freedom of expression is, one among them is from the corporate houses, where the deficit of tomorrow, a good seminar is being organized by the organization. It will be discussed at length. A trust is weakening. A trust is weakening. మనలో విశ్వాసం సన్నగిల్లిపోతుంది. మీడియా మీద, సొసైటీలో, ప్రజల్లో విశ్వాసం సన్నగిల్లిపోతుంది. That is one of the serious issues to introspect in our forums, in our levels. The second thing is, equally important is, now journalists lost everything, every protection by law. The Working Journalists Act enacted in 1955, later in 1958 Wage Act, that has been gone, in the form of labor code scheme. Nowhere except to definition, no mention of a protection for the working journalists, no mention of wages. Earlier there was wage boards. Last 15 years, no wage revision in this country. These are also the serious things to discuss and put before the country and people and authorities. These two important things have been taken up by this organization. Tomorrow, two important sessions are taking place. This is giving a confidence, not only that the presence of Mr. Ram, your presence is giving a confidence, a people-centric journalism, a confidence to write, a confidence to expose. People like you associating these organizations will definitely give a confidence to the entire working journalists in this country. I also would like to mention here, being a chairman of the Media Academy of the Telangana, you will be surprised to know we have a 20 and more thousands of working journalists in this state. 20,000 and plus. We have a 4-tier system. 20,000. We have a 4-type system. 4-type system. One is state level, second is district level, third is mandal level, and fourth is some areas at the constituency level. Nowhere in this country this facility has been extended to the working journalists for extending the accreditations for the coverage. And I'm also to say the government is contemplating shortly, I think, health benefits to the working journalists in the state, free health benefits to the state, and trying to sort out the housing problem. Our Deputy Chief Minister is here. He is one of the important personality for extending this facility to the working journalists in this state. Lastly, I appeal our Deputy Chief Minister. Our friends are here expecting some positive word for our press club premises. Hope you will do a positive statement. Thank you very much.
ధన్యవాదాలు సార్ శ్రీనివాస్ రెడ్డి గారు. And now it's time to listen to our honorable chief guest, the honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Telangana, Shri Mallu Bhatti Vikramarka garu. I request our chief guest to say a few words. Sir, many words.
Shri N. Ram Garu, Senior Journalist, former Chairman and former Editor-in-Chief, The Hindu. Shri K. Srinivas Reddy Garu, Chairman, Telangana Media Academy. Srimati Sangeeta Baru Pesharoti, President, Press Club of India. Sri Arantnath Garu, Editor, The Caravan and former President, Editor, Guilds of India. Sri Gautam Lahari Garu, Senior Journalist and Federation of Press Clubs. And Sri Vijay Kumar Reddy Garu, Organizing Representative and President of Press Club of Hyderabad. Sri Ramesh Garu, General Secretary, Press Club of Hyderabad, and office bearers of and members of press clubs from across India, senior journalists, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome all of you to Hyderabad. And warm greetings from my Honorable Chief Minister Sri Revanth Reddy Garu and the people of Telangana. 8 press clubs have come together to establish this federation. Getting journalists from 8 different organizations to agree on the same story is itself a serious achievement. So perhaps the federation has already passed its first step. But there is a serious purpose behind today's gathering. Because journalism in India has never been just another profession. It has been part of the making of India itself. look at the history of our freedom struggle. Mahatma Gandhi wrote and edited Young India, Navjivan, and Harijan, using journalism not merely to report a movement, but to argue, persuade, and mobilize. Baba Saheb Dr. B.R. Ambedkar founded Mook Naik, literally the leader of the voiceless, and later Bhashkrit Bharat. Those names themselves tells us that journalism means to him the voiceless had to be given a voice. The excluded had to be brought into the national conversation. And Ambedkar was part of a much larger Indian tradition. Lokmanya Tilak used Kesari and Maratha to challenge colonial authority and awaken political consciousness. Before them, Dadabhai Nauroji had used Rashtragopta, the truth teller, as an instrument of social and political reform. Sri Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Ji al-Hilal became a powerful voice against colonial rule. And papers such as Amrit Bazar Patrika and The Hindu became important voices of Indian public opinion in age when expressing that opinion could itself invite the displeasure of the colonial government. These were very different publications founded by very different people, but there was a thread connecting all of them. Journalism was not simply about producing news. I just wanted to stress on this point once again. Journalism was not just simply about producing news. It was about producing citizens. It informed people. It awakened them. It challenged authority. It gave political voice to those who had very little power of their own. These newspapers had to survive financially, of course, but their reason for existence was larger than their balance sheet. The element of commercialism was successfully integrated with the imperative of achieving an enlightened citizenry. That is an inheritance with remembering, and today in this meeting also. And that idea, the journalism, is also about producing citizens, is not merely a matter of history. We are entering the 88th year of our independence. Only a days ago, Sri Mallikarjun Kharge, the president of the largest democratic political party and a leader of opposition of the upper house and the senior most legislators of this country, addressed a gathering at the Ramlila ground in Haldwani. 2 days later, a so-called purification ceremony was performed at that venue. I do not raise this as a question of one political party. The political party is incidental. The principle is not. Nearly 80 years after independence, when this happens, after a senior national leader has spoken at a public venue, surely it should provoke questions that cut across the party lines. What does it say about equality and dignity? About the distance we have traveled since Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and the distance we still have to travel. The incident was reported, but journalism cannot always stop it at reporting just what happened. Sometimes journalism must also ask what it means. That was the tradition of the journalism, what we inherited. There is another story from the early years of independent India. In 1948, Jawaharlal Nehru inaugurated Shankar's weeklies, founded by the great political cartoonist Shankar. Shankar caricatured Nehru relentlessly. Nehru's message to him was just 4 words: "Don't spare me, Shankar." That sentence contains something important about the democratic tradition we inherited. Democracy does not require people in power to enjoy criticism. It requires us to accept the legitimacy of criticism. Those of us in government will sometimes think journalists are unfair. Sometimes we will think you have misunderstood us. And occasionally we may even be right. But governments and journalists are not supposed to agree all the time. If they do, citizens should probably start worrying. Journalism performs one of democracy's most necessary functions. It makes power explain itself. There was a time when the office of the editor itself carried extraordinary weight in India. One distinguished editor famously described his position as the second most important job in the country. Perhaps that contained a little journalistic modesty. But the remarkable thing is that people understood what he meant. An editor could influence the national conversation. A proprietor like Ramnath Goenka, just now Sri Ramji also mentioned about the incident. I would like to quote the same kind of. A proprietor like Ramnath Goenka could take on governments and prime ministers through the power of his newspaper. The press could make governments uncomfortable. We should ask ourselves as difficult questions today. Can the editor of a newspaper still make that claim today? Not that he or she is the second most important person in India. That was perhaps always a little hubristic. But does the institution command the same authority? And if it does not, why not? Part of the answer is that journalism itself has changed. News organizations have to survive commercially. There is nothing wrong with that. Journalists need salaries. Newspapers need investment, technology, cost money. But journalism cannot become only a trade. Because a newspaper is selling a product, but it is also performing public function. The danger begins when we confuse the two. A newspaper must have a market, but journalism must have a purpose. That purpose is to inform the citizen, question power, uncover what is hidden, and give space to voices that otherwise may not be heard. That was true in Dadabhai's time. That was true in Tilak's time. That was true in Ambedkar's time. That was true in Gandhi's time. That was true in many decades in this country. It remains true even today also. And today the challenge is even greater. For most of human history, information was scarce. Now we are drowning in it. Social media has democratized speech in an extraordinary way. Anyone with a smartphone can speak to the world. That is, in many ways, a great expansion of freedom. But freedom has never meant the absence of responsibility. There is an old saying about liberty: my right to swing my fist ends where your nose begins. The same principle must surely have some meaning in the digital world also. My freedom to speak cannot become a license to deliberately destroy another person's reputation with a falsehood. Freedom of expression cannot mean freedom from responsibility for what we express. And technology has made this challenge far more complicated. A rumor can cross India before a reporter has finished checking with whether it is true or not. A photograph can be manufactured. A voice can be cloned. Artificial intelligence can generate thousands of convincing words in seconds. And algorithms increasingly decide which voices are amplified and which are not. The loudest statement, the angriest statement, sometimes even the most outrageous statement can travel the farthest, not because it is true, but because it keeps us looking at the screen. Technology has democratized the rights to speak. It has not democratized the discipline of journalism. So the great shortage of our age is no longer information. The shortage is trust. And that may also be journalism's greatest opportunity. Because when everybody can publish, the journalist's most valuable position is no longer the printing press, its credibility. But we cannot defend journalism without defending journalists. We cannot ask a district reporter to fearlessly question powerful people while wondering whether his salary will arrive. We cannot speak eloquently about press freedom while ignoring the safety, dignity, and working conditions of those who practice it. I am here, and also I am therefore glad that this federation has placed the welfare of and protection of journalists among its objectives. And I hope you will pay a particular attention to journalists outside our metropolitan centers. A reporter in a district or a small town is often the first person to tell government that a school teacher has no attendance and a school has no teacher. A hospital has no doctor, a scheme has failed, or a citizen has simply been forgotten. For a government prepared to listen. A good reporter is sometimes the best early warning system we have. Friends, technologies will change. Business models will change. Platforms will come and go. Governments certainly will come and go. But some things do not change. Power will always need scrutiny. Citizens will always need facts. And democracy will always need people willing to ask uncomfortable questions. So my request to this new federation is, do not merely become another organization. Become an institution. Defend journalists, defend professional standards, and defend journalism as something more than a commercial enterprise. Nearly 8 decades ago, Nehru told a cartoonist, which I have already mentioned, And again, I would like to mention it again, don't spare me Shankar. Perhaps that remains a good compact between journalism and public life. Do not spare those in power, but do not spare yourselves either. Hold us to account. Hold yourselves to your standards and let the citizen be the beneficiary of a truth. The both. Telangana has always been a land where people speak their minds. The basic trait of Telangana is to express what we feel plainly and without fear. It is part of our character and has shaped our movements, our literature, and our culture. Our government respects that tradition. Freedom of expression carries great weight in Telangana, and those of us in public life must have the confidence to hear voices that disagree with us. So when Nehru said, "Don't spare me, Shankar," we understand the spirit of those words. Speak freely, question freely, and let those in power have the courage to listen. It gives me great pleasure to formally launch the Federation of Press Clubs here in Hyderabad. And I wish this federation becomes a great success and gives a light to the freedom of expression in this country, and many more the requirements of the journalists. The federation will take care of all those things with a proper institutionalized activities. And once again, I wanted to make it very clear to the press clubs who all have come from all over the country. The Telangana's, it has two basic main traits. Those two traits are, one is it expresses everything without any fear. And the second trait is it believes in hosting. It loves to host the guests. And we always practice that. And we believe it, and we continue that. And the Press Club of Hyderabad, I appreciate for taking the initiative of inviting all the press clubs to this city and conducting this meeting. And definitely this government, on behalf of my Chief Minister and the entire cabinet, we assure you the freedom of expression is maintained, and it will be maintained. And another request, while Srinivas Reddy was speaking, he made a small request about the land allotment to the Press Club of Hyderabad. Yes, we have already received the representation, and it is under examination. And I can definitely assure you here, the government will positively consider it at the earliest, and we'll see to that, our press club, Hyderabad Press Club, is going to be a model press club for this country. Thank you very much, sir. And Jai Hind and Jai Telangana.
We express our deep gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, Deputy Chief Minister of Telangana, Shri Bhatti Vikramarka Garu, for his powerful reminders about the history of media and journalism in India, and also for the direction and the promise and the hope that his words have brought to us today. I request everyone to please be seated because we are yet to conclude the program. We have a few more events happening. There was a World Photography Day contest that was conducted by the Press Club Hyderabad, and we are about to give away the prizes to all the winners. May I call all the winners of the photography contest? I'd like to start with the consolation prizes.
మిత్రులందరూ వచ్చినటువంటి మిత్రులందరికీ it's a request from my side on behalf of the government of Telangana. Please do come for the evening dinner which has been hosted by the state government, honoring all the press clubs which all have come all over the country. Where at Praja Bhavan in the evening, 7:30 onwards.
Would like to respond, sir?
Yeah. No, it is.
What can we say? We are overwhelmed by I fully agree with every word, every nuance, every implication of what the Deputy CM, the Honorable Deputy CM has said. He has spent a lot of time here. We have imposed quite a lengthy session on him, and there is more this evening. So this should not become an endangered species, this kind of government. So I'm very happy. So on behalf of everyone here, on behalf of the President of the Federation, I don't know if I should arrogate to myself that, okay. But as a friend of the Federation of Press Clubs, I want to express our sincere thanks and appreciation. And we want you to continue doing this kind of work for the freedom of the press. It's important that we stress social responsibility also.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
I hope what the Deputy Chief Minister's speech and his sentiments can be made a Telangana model. We know many other sinister models, and this becomes the Telangana model of press freedom and constitutional governance.
Full text we are going to print in our Scribes News of Indian Journalists Union. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We will now go ahead with announcing the winners of the photography contest. I'll start with K. Jayakrishna from Eenadu. K. Jayakrishna garu vedika paiki vachi vari K. Jayakrishna garu Eenadu Hyderabad nunchi కన్సలేషన్ ప్రైజ్ అందుకుంటున్నారు. జయకృష్ణ గారికి అభినందనలు. మన అందరి కరతాళ ధ్వనులతో కంగ్రాచులేషన్స్. వంద మాటలు చెప్పలేని ఒక్క చిత్రం చెప్పేస్తుంది అంటారు. సో one photograph can capture what a million words may not be able to. Hence this photography contest holds a great significance. Congratulations to all the winners. K. Jayakrishna from Eenadu. I'd like to invite K. Durga Rao from the Deccan Chronicle, Hyderabad. Velugu Patrika nunchi Mahimala Bhaskar Reddy garu. Mahimala Bhaskar Reddy from Velugu, V6. I think the stage is about to shake. I request all the others to get off the stage because Mahimala Bhaskar Reddy from V6. G. Ravikumar from Andhra Jyoti, Mahbub Nagar, receiving the consolation prize. Consolation prize అందుకుంటున్నారు G. Ravikumar garu, Andhra Jyoti Patrika nunchi. N. Giri from Eenadu. N. Giri from Eenadu, Hyderabad. N. Giri from Eenadu, Hyderabad, consolation prize అందుకుంటున్నారు. అలాగే K. Satish garu, Sakshi Dinapatrika nunchi, Siddipet nunchi. K. Satish, request you to please come on to the stage. K. Satish from Sakshi. Primary education ane category lo pratyeka bahumati అందుకుంటున్నారు Mucharla Srinivas from the Hans India, Nalgonda. Mucharla Srinivas from the Hans India has won the special prize in the primary education category. And now I'm about to announce the third prize in this photography contest. A big round of applause for B. Gopi. Of course, all the winners, but B. Gopi from Namaste Telangana, Mahbub Nagar. B. Gopi Ravali Vedik Mediki. I'd like to invite to receive the second prize from Namaste Telangana, Veeragoni Rajnikant Gaud. Veeragoni Rajnikant Gaud, రెండో బహుమతి అందుకుంటున్నారు నమస్తే తెలంగాణ దినపత్రిక నుంచి. అలాగే రజనీకాంత్ గారు మీరేనా? కంగ్రాచులేషన్స్. అండ్ మొదటి బహుమతి అందుకోబోతున్నారు మనందరి కరతాళ ధ్వనులతో సాక్షి దినపత్రిక సూర్యాపేట నుంచి యాకయ్య గారు. ఏ యాకయ్య. A. Akaya is receiving the first prize in the World Photography Day contest. A. Akaya from Sakshi, Suryapet. A big round of applause for all the winners, please. ఇవాల్టి ఈ ఫోటోగ్రఫీ కాంటెస్ట్ విజేతలకి జడ్జెస్గా వ్యవహరించిన వారు కేశవులు గారు. అందరికీ సుపరిచిత ఫోటోగ్రాఫర్ ఈనాడు నుండి కేశవుల్ గారు వేదిక మీదకి రావాలని కోరుతున్నాం. అలాగే కె శ్రీనివాస్ రెడ్డి గారు, ఎడిటర్ ఆఫ్ తెలంగాణ టుడే. అలాగే వసంత్ కుమార్ గారు ఈనాడు ఫోటోగ్రాఫర్గా ఉన్నారు. జడ్జెస్ని సాధారణంగా వేదికపైకి ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాం, వారిని సత్కరించుకోబోతున్నాం. We will have 2 group photographs, one with all the winners and the judges and the esteemed guests on the stage, and another photograph with the members of the federation along with our distinguished guests on stage. I request everyone else to step back for the time being. A. Yakai garu from Sakshi, first prize అందుకున్నారు. వసంత్ గారు ఈనాడు ఫోటోగ్రాఫర్గా, వసంత్ కుమార్ గారు జడ్జిగా వ్యవహరించారు. వారికి ధన్యవాదాలు చెప్తూ I request all the judges and the winners to please remain on stage so that we can all have a group photograph. దయచేసి కేవలం విశిష్ట అతిథులు, ముఖ్య అతిథి ప్రస్తుతం విన్నర్స్తో తీసుకోబోతున్న ఫోటోగ్రాఫ్. అలాగే వసంత్ కుమార్ గారు, విజయ్ కుమార్ గారు, మీ దృష్టికి ఒక విషయం తీసుకొస్తున్నాం. వసంత్ కుమార్ గారు 20,000 రూపాయల కార్పస్ ఫండ్ ఇవ్వబోతున్నారు హైదరాబాద్ ప్రెస్ క్లబ్కి. ఒక కరతాళ ధ్వనులతో అందరూ అభినందనలు తెలుపుదాం. Mr. Vasant Kumar has just donated 20,000 rupees to the Press Club Hyderabad to be part of the corpus fund. మరికొన్ని ఫోటోగ్రాఫ్స్ తీసుకోబోతున్నాం మన ముఖ్య అతిథి అలాగే విశిష్ట అతిథులతో కలిసి. I request the federation members to please come forward to take a photograph. ఫెడరేషన్ సభ్యులందరూ కూడా ముందుకు రావాలని కోరుతున్నాం to take a photograph. I request the members of the Federation of Press Clubs to please come forward to take a group photograph, post which we will have another photograph with the members of the jury and then the executive committee and the governing members of the Press Club of Hyderabad. May I request all our guests on stage to please step back and sit in their chairs so that the rest of the people taking photograph can stand behind. దయచేసి సభ్యులందరూ వెనక కుర్చీలో ఆసీనులు కావాలని కోరుతున్నాం. I request the Honorable Chief Guest to please be seated. I request our distinguished guests to please take a seat so that we may all take another photograph. I invite Snehashish Shurji to please come and give the vote of thanks, and then we'll have the national anthem and proceed for lunch. Snehashish Shurji from Kolkata Press Club requests you to please give a brief vote of thanks.
Most respected Sri Mallu Bhatti Vikramarka ji, the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, and the guardian of contemporary Indian journalism, Sri N. Ram, Srinivasa Garu, the chairman of the Telangana Media Academy, and all others on the dais, and my esteemed colleagues in the media fraternity. I know it's very difficult at the fag end of the day when lunch is waiting to have a prolonged vote of thanks. But I'd be failing in my duty if I do not say that I envy the journalist of this place for having such a friendly Deputy Chief Minister who assures all support to the journalists. Not only that he has been here for a long time and he has supported the commencement of this federation, but the speech depicted not only the legacy and history of journalism since independence, but the contemporary media situation, the benchmark the Indian media has to maintain, and to maintain that, what is required to be the journalist, which is the most unorganized sector. So from the bottom of my heart and for everyone in the media fraternity of our country, we can say that we thank you for being so explicitly supporting the cause of journalism and the cause of journalists. As I said, we have with us the guardian of contemporary Indian journalism, none other than N. Ram. It would be my foolishness to qualify who he is, but we all know what he is. His mere presence makes everything different, gives a different dimension when he is there for a cause. It is not his mere presence that he has been speaking since last evening. You can understand his involvement because he's seeing a light at a situation when the light needs to be there with this federation. Sir, as a senior media person, editor, manager, and what else, and a crusader of freedom of speech and expression and freedom of press, I have no audacity to thank you, but we feel that we all are fortunate, those who have been dreamt for this federation and who have come all the ways from various press clubs to make a dream into a reality. And at this juncture, when we have a person like you standing behind us, standing beside us, then we are reassured that we are working for a cause, and the cause is right. Your presence has meant this. You have heard a very young former president of Editors Guild. See, the Editors Guild is a very, very important organization. And you have seen, Anand, that how explicitly he has mapped the reasons for which the journalists need to be united today. And one of the major causes the Federation of Press Clubs has taken to continue. Anand, as usual, you have been a great inspiration, not as an editor who sits somewhere, but an editor who is doing the data and mapping all the stories and all the stories in his fingertips. It's again a reassurance. I cannot thank Gautamda. Again, it's very difficult for me. Knowing him for a long time, he is a member of the Press Club of Kolkata, for which we all are proud. And this is a case which he had been spearheading for a long time. And today, the launch has taken place. But the way the launch has been done, I think not only him, all of us who have come from all over the country are now entrusted with a greater job and responsibility. It is not a name that we are an apex body and a national body, but the kind of aspirations and the responsibilities which has been enthroned under the leadership of Sri Gautam Lahiri, I think we all will try to make it into a reality. Sangeeta, again is a cliched term that the first lady president of the Press Club of India, but again a person where we talk much on the presence or the gender equality and the presence of the ladies in the forefront of journalism, not only in the air-conditioned newsrooms, but in the forefront. But again, the support the Press Club of India, that is, we all consider that that's our club. I don't know why this feeling is there for the journalists from across the country. Whoever goes to Delhi goes to the club, and we feel quite comfortable. And for this cause also, she has come forward. I cannot thank enough Srinivas Garu. Not only that, he is an eminent journalist. His presence has again given a different dimension. He has fought and he is fighting for the cause of journalism and cause of journalists. So when we have this kind of like-minded people who are thinking ahead for the cause of journalism and the journalists both, I think our effort becomes easier. Sir, the way you are heading the academy, we have a lot of hope, and we think that for our all academic and other activities, we'll get the support of the academy. Vijay Garu and Ramesh Garu. Vijay Garu speaks less, but we know what he can do. I have no hesitation in saying, not only on my own behalf and on behalf of each and every one of us who have come from outside, and I believe I can also speak on your behalf. The way it is meticulously organized by Vijay Garu and Ramesh Garu, I think all of us need to see and learn that journalism also does not confide into the writing or speaking or presenting something, doing something and doing something meticulously. One has to be great organizers to fight for a cause, and I think you have a great team. I thank all the presidents, secretaries, and the former secretaries of the Press Club of India who have come all the way for a cause. And I think it's not only another conference or a seminar or a meeting where we are taken care of well, but we'll try to make it a serious effort when it comes to the responsibility and the future aspirations. You see, everywhere we know the journalists are very busy. They don't come in these kind of programs. Last evening and today, this could have happened without the presence of the local journalists. I'm overwhelmed to see such a number of senior and young journalists and photojournalists have come to make this historic occasion a momentous. Your mere presence gives us confidence and support. I'm grateful to all of you. And I would like to thank each and everyone.
Not the least, this lady announced.
I will. Sir, I am a television broadcaster, so it's my own clan. So I must thank, along with you, each and every person in Hyderabad Press Club, the managing committee, and all others from the government of Telangana, tourism department, information department, protocol department, and all others who have done their best to make this historic and momentous occasion really a historic occasion. Last but not the least, the MC who have been speaking from the heart. It's the MC's Shapna is not that reading out the written script, the anchor cards, what we say. But when an anchor speaks from within, with the belief, confidence, and aspirations, it becomes a different, it takes a different level. But you don't know, I'm thanking her in advance for a very personal reason. She's going to sing later the Malayali version of a very famous Telugu song. Telugu version of a very famous song. I know there should be a word limit and time limit for the journalists, and I think I have encroached because I have been a little bit sentimental because I have been with this cause for a long time, but I must end. Vote of thanks should not be larger than any of the speeches. Nenu hridaya purvankaga dhanyavadalu.
Request you all to rise for the national anthem, please.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तव जय गाथा। जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
जय हिंद।